Good evening. We're living in unprecedented times. Times, I would argue, are more confusing and also more divided than ever before, at least in my lifetime. It's confusing. It's very confusing. The uncertainty, I think we all feel. A month and a half ago, you read the news, it says, do not wear masks. They're useless, pointless. A month and a half later, don't go anywhere without a mask. A month and a half ago, the virus spreads to every surface imaginable. Don't touch a box without, wiping it down. Just 2 days ago, I saw on Fox News, it turns out it doesn't seem, according to the CDC, that the virus sticks on surfaces all that well. Who knows, right? There's so much unknown. The confusion it's just like, you read one thing one day, the next day it's something else. It's like, what do you do? And in life, uncertainty and confusion can be very difficult and very challenging. And in addition, we're living, unfortunately, in a very divided, fragmented world. I would argue perhaps a broken world, a world in where we can't seem to agree with one another. And it's okay not to agree, but the way in which we disagree is very problematic. I go on the news, I see on CNN, they have articles about Fox News. Fox News has articles about CNN. I look at the news, I just want the news. I don't want to see fighting. And there's so much, unfortunately, this pandemic has just become a political issue. It's like if you're on one side of the aisle, then you want to stay home. If you're on the other side, then you want to open up. And it's become a political issue. And it's very sad. And I believe that this week's Parsha's Bamidbar, has two answers to both of these dilemmas, two separate answers, but they're both found in this week's Parsha. As to the confusing world part, there's so much confusion. It's like you don't know what's going on. You don't know what to do. So the Parsha tells us something very powerful, that it's at least one thing that we can be certain of, right? And what is that? So at the very beginning, the Parsha tells us that the Almighty made a census. He demanded, he insisted that we have a census in which the Jewish people were counted. And Rashi says, why are we counted? Why are we counted so much? Rashi says it's because of our belovedness before God. He counted us all the time. You imagine a child who's collecting cards, baseball cards, and he loves his cards, so he keeps counting them just to make sure how many there are. So too, God so loves us and cherishes us that he counts us all the time. So as for the confusing world, yes, it's a confusing world, but let's just focus on the few things that we know are true, the things that are not confusing. And that is that God loves us more than we can even imagine. And hopefully, at the very least, with all the confusion, we can take comfort in that. Take comfort in the fact that God loves us more than it's even possible to fathom. And we trust that God, is everything he does is for the good, for his beloved children. And let's take comfort in that knowledge. Everything is so confusing, but that is not. There's no doubt about that. We are beloved in God's eyes, and that's the first pasuk in the Torah that Rashi, in this week's Parsha, that Rashi explains. As for the fragmentation that unfortunately plagues us so terribly today, so I think there's another powerful lesson as well. And the Torah tells us, in the Parsha, that the Jewish people, when they would encamp, yes, they would be according to their tribes. However, they would be encamped around the Torah, around our holy. They'd be camped around symbolically we were camped around the Torah, and the Ohel Moed, the tent of meeting, is journeyed in the middle of the Jewish people. Everyone was surrounded around it, and that was the thing that held us together, that brought us together, that united us. And I think perhaps that maybe we can think about this as well as we now approach Shavuos, a week away. Shavuos is in a week, and we unite around the Torah. We unite around our heritage, our timeless treasure that the Almighty gifted to all of us. It's every single one of ours, not just one group, not just the other group, not just those on the left or the right or the center, or those who don't care. It's all of ours. And let's all unite and camp around the Torah like our ancestors did several thousand years ago. And please God, this division will stop, and the pandemic will stop, and we can just love one another, that we know that on Shavuos, we celebrate the giving of the Torah, Vayichan Sham Yisrael neged ahar ki'ish echad b'lev echad. That the Jewish people encamped as one, right? It doesn't say Vayichanu. It says they encamped as one. The Jewish people encamped as one. Rashi says ki'ish echad b'lev echad, like one person with one heart. They were one, united as one people, in love with God, God in love with us. So let us get rid of the confusion. Let's focus on the things we know. God loves us, and let's unite together. No more bickering, no more fighting. Let's be in this together, and God willing, the sorrows and troubles we all know will end, and we will be back in Jerusalem speedily in our day.